Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning and welcome. It's Nurse Richard, the Wax Wizard. Thank you for joining me. Episode, where are we? 379, I think. So we're not that far away from 400. So I had to think then. Sorry, it's been a long day. It's just before the last appointment on a Friday, and it's been a tough week, a really tough week. Now, what can I tell you about this one here? Now, this was a young chap. I think he was in his early 20s. And as per the previous 2 episodes, this is the 3rd one in a row that someone has shoved a cotton bud in there. This was probably the most difficult of the lot as well. And not only had he put a cotton bud in there, I think he'd be trying to flush it out with the shower, the bulb syringe, and I think he's poured a load of hydrogen peroxide in there as well. So not only is it impacted, it's mushy and impacted, and those are the two worst things that you can do, to be honest, because it just makes this so difficult. You can see all the hairs in this, can't you? So that's a clear sign that it's been impacted. Actually, it wasn't him. Tell a lie, it was his girlfriend. Because he'd been complaining about his ears, and she said, I know, I can fix that. So what she did, she and thankfully she didn't his eardrum. But it's the reason why I'm being really cautious on this. Firstly, he was quite nervous and he was a bit twitchy and a bit shaky, which doesn't help. But when someone's pushed this in that far on top of the eardrum, if you push it in with the sucker, you can push it against the eardrum, and that would be quite uncomfortable, and obviously some risks involved in that. So what you have to do is kind of just gently touch up against it, and hopefully it just draws it back all in one go and it all comes out. In an ideal world, it's not an ideal world because this is mushy. So what happens is just a tiny little section comes forward, but you can't go gung-ho at these. You really can't. It would be the wrong thing to do. I don't think he's going to let her use a cotton bud again, because I did ask him. I said, was he uncomfortable when she poked it in? And he said, yeah, I had to ask her to stop. So again, that's another sign to me that you really should take your time on this one and just not touch up against this too firmly, just in case she has done any damage, and we don't want to make that any worse. But I think he fully admitted that she'd been an absolutely silly sausage. And he's not going to do it again, I hope. Because you could tell it'd been there for a very long time. This is very black, this. So you can tell it'd been there for a number of years. It's been building up. And only when he's noticed he's got a problem or complained about it, they've tried to do something about it. And they've done all the wrong things. But if you don't know, you don't know. You know. Well, but lesson learned. They're not going to do it again. I have had a few really interesting and really serious cases in recently. I know the members have seen all those, so you'll already know about those. I didn't feel like doing one of those today. Just felt like doing something a bit more light-hearted that cheered me up a little bit, because it's been a tough week. But you will get to see those soon. There's one with really nasty cholesteatoma, and everything's been eroded away. It's an absolute mess. One of the most difficult things I've done. And then by far the most difficult procedure I have ever recorded. I came across, this was only yesterday, I know the members have seen it, the unedited version. I will put it in a video shortly. Maybe it'll be for episode 400. But it was a grade 2 keratosis, but it was the most difficult one I have ever done. It took nearly an hour, all in all. The video won't be that long. I'll chop it up a bit. But it was so difficult because it was unbelievable, really. This lady hadn't had any pain at all, which is why I was reluctant to classify it as a keratosis obstrucans. I've asked a specialist to have a look, but there was quite clear remodelling. The ear canal was a lot bigger than it should have been. But she had one of his ears that didn't go straight like that. It went uphill like that, and really sharply uphill. It was like almost 45 degrees, and just to get in it, she had to be laid down on the side, and I was stood up over her. It was really difficult, but I may upload that when I'm in the mood for a bit more serious one shortly. But I think you will enjoy that. It is a classic case where you see all these white stringy outer matrix sliding away. I know I'm talking about the other procedure that you've not seen yet, so you're thinking, well, tell me about this one. It's not a lot to tell you about it. You can see what I'm doing. Slowly bringing this forward. Done the same in both ears, as if one wasn't enough. She'd wedged it in both of them, and it's just wedged in the roof of the ear canal. It's always a difficult spot to get to this. I find it really difficult anyway. I know lots of others do as well. I finally managed to bring that down, and it's even the stuff that's really deep down, it's still really mushy as well. So it really managed to penetrate. There it is. It's not looking too bad. All things considered, a few little specks here and there. They're really not significant. This one, she hadn't squashed it in quite as much. I think they'd used the bud on this a while ago, and then it had been building up again. You can just tell how black. It's like tar, isn't it? I had to really turn up the exposure on this, because when I was doing it live, it was really difficult to see what I was doing because it was just so black. And when you turn the exposure up too brightly, everything reflects. You know, the hairs, the suction tube look too bright. So it was really difficult to see what I was doing. So when I was editing this procedure, I really had to turn up the exposure so you can see it. Took a bit of work to get it to be relatively clear. It's still not the clearest one I've ever done, but you can see it well enough. Now this one came out a bit easier as well than the other one. Still mushy, as you can see, but the bulk of it is a bit more formed. As you can just see the whole thing start to move now. A lot of hairs in this as well. It's finally starting to move. I nearly forgot. Well, I'm not going to do dad joke. I'm going to give mum joke of the day a last chance, because they've been awful, all the ones I've seen so far. So let's give mum joke a last chance. Right. What type of house weighs less than all others? A lighthouse. Awful. I heard a joke about chocolate bars and it just wasn't that funny. So I just snickered. You're on your last legs, you mum jokes, I tell you. Why was the broom late for the meeting? It overswept. What do you call a fish wearing a tie? Sophisticated. I'm sorry, mum jokes. I know somebody did send me that, and thank you for that, but I think you'll probably agree. They're awful. They're even worse than dad jokes. Never to be seen again. Yeah, it was fun while it lasted. So as you can see, just about to wriggle this last little bit out. Oh, hang on, where is it? One more. Come on. It's squeaking. There we go. Finally. Now there is one tiny spot at the bottom of the ear canal, which I've left there just to annoy you. You know I haven't really. Patient had had enough by then. It's not significant at all. Couple of drops of oil, that will fall out. It's like the size of a grain of sand. But if that does bug you and you want to leave me a comment saying you didn't finish that, then feel free to leave us a comment and you'll end up in a white place. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for tuning in. But for now, I'll see you later. Ta-da.